My name is Anna Wood and I'm an endocrinologist in Darwin. I'd like to start by acknowledging the Larrakia people as the custodians of the land on which I live and work and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. So I wanted to tell you about our experience of establishing a weight management clinic at Royal Darwin Hospital in August last year. So it's a medical clinic where we focus on an individualised management approach using a very low energy diet and pharmacotherapy. Next slide, please. I think what is unique about managing obesity in the NT is that we are working in a cross-cultural context with about 30% of our population identifying as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, with many people living in remote and very remote communities where English is often third or fourth language spoken at home. So prior to this clinic, there was no obesity services available in the NT and no access to public bariatric surgery, which remains the case, although people do occasionally go interstate for compassionate access to surgery. If you click, please. So the goal of our service was to ensure people in the territory have access to evidence-based treatments for obesity and that we can provide appropriate care for both non-Indigenous and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, both in the urban setting, but also really to figure out what was the best way to service people who live remotely. Next slide, please. So based on my personal experiences from working in a clinic in Melbourne and some very kind clinicians who were willing to talk to me from New South Wales, we developed our protocol for the clinic. I found it difficult in the NT to find people with lived experience who had a voice on obesity. And so I spoke to people from WIN, the Weight Issues Network, both Aboriginal and non-Indigenous people who were incredibly helpful. So they pointed out the importance of creating a destigmatizing environment, ensuring we were using appropriate scales, chairs, blood pressure cups, tape measures. We did have some difficulty ordering and some delays with the appropriate scales. We still run around at the beginning of each clinic every week, making sure we have the 4 or 5 appropriate chairs we have in the right place. We spoke with all the clinic admin and nursing staff in the clinic about the philosophy of our service, so around appropriate language and the stigma around obesity. And whilst everyone was really supportive, probably one of the challenges has been the high turnover of staff with different people often in clinic, and which is a common problem, particularly in the territory with quite a transient population. And then we just started really. So we only have 3 doctors and 1 dietitian for now, but we've been going for about 7 months, and we've had this incredible groundswell of support from across the hospital and primary care and from people in our service. We plan to audit the service, and I'm particularly interested in people's experiences and satisfaction with the clinic. If you would click, please. Some ongoing challenges are that we haven't quite yet developed culturally appropriate resources. We are using one flip chart created in Alice Springs on very low energy diet food ideas in the remote context. So this has been great sharing of resources, but there is a lot more we could do, and I think a lot more collaborating and sharing of resources that may already be out there. I'm also unsure of the cultural appropriateness of the clinic location. So currently it's based in the tertiary hospital, and whether there could be a model where we have an alternating clinic within an Aboriginal medical service as well. And secondly, the cost of very low energy diet, which I'm sure is common across the country for many people, does remain a barrier for many of our clients, although we are really lucky that we have pharmacotherapy funded for a 12-month trial through the hospital. If you click, please. And we get to fulfill the multidisciplinary dream. So we would love to have Aboriginal staff, which we don't yet have, to have psychology involved, and a consumer support network that do exist in other cities. I think what's specific to the NT isn't that it's not just about funding for these services, but it's also challenging to find people with the right specialist skill set, given the small population in Darwin. We're also working together with the surgeons regarding potential future options for public bariatric surgery, but I think this is a number of years away, really. And if you could click once more, please. And I think finally, we're yet to determine the best model of care in the remote setting. So many communities are great distances from Darwin and can be cut off during the wet season for up to 6 months of the year with limited access to healthy, affordable food options. Hence, it can be really difficult to ensure access to vegetables, particularly as part of the very low energy intensive phase, and to ensure access to the very low energy diet itself. It's also difficult in the context of significant overcrowding of houses for people to maintain a very low energy diet and to maintain taking meal replacements. So we are trialling seeing a few clients remotely, but this does take resources from remote health clinics who are very understaffed and need to prioritise acute issues, and it can be difficult to focus on chronic conditions such as obesity. So that's where we are, and that's us. And yeah, please contact me if you have any ideas or thoughts or want to come and work with us.